Well, let me just jump right in. I want to just first say, Mix, it's great to see you. And I love the song Glass Ceiling, where you have four generations of
Yeah.
Seattle rappers. What was that like? You're sort of like the godfather of rap with all these other incredible, talented guys.
Well, I was the last one to do my verse. I think I'm not sure, but I think I was. No, I wasn't. We were all writing at the same time. I think Travis had his verse done first, so he calls me and I'm on the road, and I could tell he was like, "How you gonna do your verse?" And I'm on tour. I'm not gonna be home for 3 months. And I said, "I can record it in my hotel room," and I could tell he was like, "Is that gonna sound right?" But no, I got on it, man, and because I always carry a mini studio everywhere I go. Because I was literally doing my radio show live on the road. So I went in, tracked it, recorded it, and didn't end up sounding like the antique guy on the record. So that was a good thing. I know that's what they feared. I was going to go hip, hop, hip it to the hip. No,
Oh, that's awesome. You know, I watched some interviews of you recently, and the music industry has changed so much since when you were there. You were in a part of a major record label, and now it's such a different model. Talk about how different it is. And I want to know: do you wish you were just starting your career today, or did you love being the big man with the big label?
great question. And it's funny. I'm going to do a thing on my YouTube channel about this because I don't use my YouTube channel often because I always feel like me kind of stuff is not what I'm into. But it's very different. In my era, you were chosen. You may start to believe the hype and think that you're the best ever, but you always could look back and see some people like, yeah, I think he was better than me. It just you were defined. The critics were able to define you. Critics were able to take your career away. Now they can't do that. And I love the fact that young artists don't even know the value of owning your own masters. Just to give the average 35 on down a little history, most of us who had hits in the 70s, 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, our masters are owned for 35 years. Very important to understand that. What does that mean? Well, if you get a check for 100 grand, somebody else got a check for 1 million.
Wow.
And you really have to understand that. So while you had more fame, you heard more crash and burn stories. You heard about guys that made a lot of money and then, they're selling their platinum records on eBay. And so it's definitely a different era now. Now, that being said, the downside of today is that some people just don't have that much talent, but they can still get the same shine for a while. So, but but to answer your second question, would I want to do it again? Yes, I would love to. I'd love to be the former me because I was so hungry and so into this, and be able to control the narrative. Wow, what a concept! Be able to tell my own story. Yeah, so that would have been it would have been really cool because in my era, you do a couple of songs, like a Posse on Broadway or Baby Got Back, and you're known for those songs, but your hardcore fans like, how come you never released this song and that song? And I had a lot of songs talking about stuff that's going on right now, but everything from gun control to what the national anthem represents, things of that sort. And those songs never got heard because the label they were like, no, we don't want them hearing that.
So I want to springboard off that. You grew up in the Central District during a time when busing was being used to try to integrate schools and try to make them more diverse. What are the lessons that Seattle still has not? I mean, what do we need to fix that is still broken in Seattle? You've lived this history as a person of color in Seattle for your whole life. What still is the undone business?
Well, I think it's being undone pretty quickly too. So let me preface what I'm going to say by saying that is that there seemed to be a lack of understanding in, I grew up, my mom she was a nurse and she would donate weekend time to the Black Panther Clinic that was right next door to where I played basketball up on 19th and Spruce. And they did this thing we nicknamed Unlearn, where they would basically teach you about yourself and teach you things that you heard about yourself that weren't true. And they would unteach that. And that really helped. But I think there was always a big misunderstanding that when African Americans complained about something like police brutality, this is before cell phones. It wasn't real. It was just some people begging for something. Well, when you see these people protesting, they're not asking you for your money. They're not really asking you for your pity. All they're asking is to one day be you, to not have to worry about it, to have a certain amount of privilege, to have a certain amount of, to have a cop assume you're innocent until proven guilty. Or if you're a little bit drunk, they sit you down and talk to you like I've seen them do to my friends when I went down to Seafair. I had some white friends that were kind of lit, right? And lit back then meant drunk kids. But, the cops would talk to them, sit them down. Hey, you got to calm down. You got to settle down. Then you'd see it at Seward Park, which is where a lot of black people went. Different story. That guy that had too much to drink usually ended up literally hogtied in the back of a police car. And there's something, I don't know if it's just an innate fear that some people have of African-American males. I don't know what it is, but it's something that's happened for a long time. And it's something we've talked about for a long time. And what I like about this generation of kids is that everybody's there. It's not just black people. It's not just black people leading marches either. It's a lot of white people that believe in the very same things. And I will say this to all the kids protesting. What you have now is power. So you think. But power ain't power until it's leveraged. So if you don't vote, that's not power. So I would say, if you truly want power, leverage the momentum you have and get up for the downstroke, as George Clinton used to say.
That's awesome. I love how in the All in Washington concert, Ken Griffey Jr. calls you up and makes a request of Baby Got Back. How cool was that?
Ken Griffey Jr., it's funny. I remember when he came to Seattle, and how I first met him. He probably doesn't remember this. We were at it was a place that did car stereo stuff called Car-Fi. So they had one of his cars there, and they had one of my cars there, and I'm trying to compete with him, right? Because he had this one nice car. I'm like, I'm gonna get a nicer one, right? And he got a nice, we're kids, immature, and I had a Lamborghini Diablo. I said, yes, I got a Lamborghini. He's like, he walks in Ferrari. What costs more than that? Give me the F40. Now I'm not saying he did that, but I'm assuming. But anyway, we ended up, being pretty cool. He was really closer to my buddy Kid Sensation. He was really, those guys were like this. And, but I always, every time we saw each other, we spoke, had a good time, talked. We had a lot of mutual friends, and what he did for this town, that 95 slide in the home plate, you can't make that up, man. Hitting a home run right after his dad hits one. Really? Are you serious? I mean, you can't make that stuff up, man. And he's, and I'm glad he's embraced Seattle. Because, he could have stayed in Cincinnati or wherever and said, okay, I'm good here. But I think he loves the town. So that's good.
I wanted to ask you about Glass Ceiling and Travis Thompson and Prometheus Brown and you and Macklemore. As you look at these young guys, what excites you most about how music has evolved? You were there at the very beginning of this movement in Seattle, but what excites you most about these young guys?
I love the very thing most old guys hate. I love when Macklemore started his rise, and I remember I get a call, my manager does. Macklemore wants you to do a track in the midst of his set down at the Showbox. And I'm like, oh man, he's gonna want Baby Got Back, but he didn't. He wanted Posse on Broadway. He wanted that Seattle song, right? So I go down, I do the set, and what I liked about it is he didn't see it as, let me try to be Mix-a-Lot. I don't want that. I wanted evolution. And what I saw in Mac was he took what I did, went to another level. What I see Travis and Prometheus doing is they're keeping it should be a rise. It shouldn't be a plateau. And sometimes I think old guys get, frankly, a little jealous. I think they get jealous. Me personally, I'm like, come on, man. Let these kids do their thing and just enjoy it. I brag on Seattle every time. I saw Travis doing freestyle on Sway's show. I'm like, that's my guy. That's my guy. You know what I mean? Because it's a Seattle thing. And I love that kid. He's hungry. I got a young one I'm getting ready to work with. I'm working with already, TNT. It stands for The Natural Truth. And same thing, young guy, hungry. I mean, he's calling me every day. You got that beat done? You got that beat done? You got that beat done? And I love that hunger, but I told him, don't be me. Don't be me, be you.
What are you most proud of when you look at the work that you've done so far in your career?
Yeah, that's a good question because there was a time, I remember when the record went number one, and I'm kind of I won't say a historian when it comes to music, but I pay attention to trends, and usually the stuff repeats itself. Usually when you have a number one, because there is no number zero, there's nowhere to go but down. And sometimes people flail when they go down, and they go down in flames. And what I mean by that, they start trying to hang on to their heyday. They do a few more sit-ups. They put a little Just for Men in the beard. And I want to look comfortable with myself and grounded. Because if you think when you're number one, you're going to stay there. If Michael Jackson couldn't, I probably can't either. So I guess what I feel good about is that over time, you peak. Then when you drop, people start saying, that guy, he's garbage, and then you kind of come back up and you cruise. And the art of doing that is it takes time and it takes patience, and it also takes good money management.
Yeah.
Trust me when I tell you that.
Mix, what about Seattle? I mean, you could have gone, anywhere in the country to live during your career. You chose to stay here.
Yeah, you know what? I remember when I went down to Vegas, because some of my family, my niece and her husband and children, they moved down there, and they're always telling me, come on down. I went down, almost bought a house. Then we went down there another day, same house, and I saw a scorpion the size of Texas. And I knew right then, no. But it's something about when you leave town, when you go on tour, anybody that's left here, I know Matt can tell you that. Travis now can probably tell you that. When you come back, and especially I drive. So when you come back either through the Cascades or you come up from the South, when you see those evergreens, it's God's country, man. I love this place. I love the place. I love the attitude. I love the culture. I love the fact that it embraces its own culture. Because if you remember, it used to be just Ivor Haglund. And that was it. That was Seattle. Ivors and fishermen defined Seattle. But now with the tech boom and we're kind of hipsters and people used to tease us, and now we just embraced it. I go around Broadway. Yes, I'm eating something I can't pronounce, but I eat it because that's Seattle, man. That's what we do. And it usually makes your breath smell really bad, but that's the C-Town way. I love this town. I'll never leave it. Never leave it.
Oh, that's cool. Most people know you for Baby Got Back. What is, give me like 2, 3, 4 other songs that people should look up on Spotify once this interview is done that you love.
Yeah, the songs I love are songs that I did a experimental release where I released with a company, and they kept the masters for a year, and then they reverted back to me. This was back in 2003. It's an album called Daddy's Home. Lyrically, easily my best record ever. There's a song called Y'all Don't Know. That's a very true story about my whole career. There's a bunch of songs on there where I'm having fun too, but a couple songs on there I'm saying things that I wasn't allowed to say on a major label, or if I did say it on a major label, it got pushed to the B-side. That album, anything off of that album, Daddy's Home, you'll hear me using skills that I wasn't really allowed to use per se. When I used them, people didn't want to hear it. They wanted to hear rudimentary, I like big butts and I cannot lie, which is cool. But I used to say, a lot more stuff than that. And I could flow, I can spit, and people don't hear it. So that's why I like doing that glass ceiling, because Travis didn't tell me to hold back. Hey man, can you do Posse on Broadway style? He didn't say that. He let me do my thing. So the Daddy's Home album, if it's not up, I'm going to re-release it now because now I own it. So I'm going to put it back out. I'm not trying to make money on it. I just want to put it out. I just want to put out music now to have fun.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, that's good stuff. Mix, anything else you want to talk about before we go? Where can people connect with you if they want to listen to you?
You can hit me at The Real Mix on Twitter because somebody stole the name. You can hit me at The Real Sir Mix a lot on Instagram because somebody stole the name, and of course Sir Mix a lot on Facebook. But I do want to say this before I cut out, is that this thing we just did is it's so meaningful to me, and I love the way that the people organizing this were able to pivot, because remember, this was literally just going to be something for the businesses that were affected by COVID-19. Then the George Floyd incident happens, and they were not tone deaf. Not only did they postpone it, they've allocated some monies to various Black organizations, and they have a company called Black Future Co-op Fund, I believe it is, headed by 4 African-American women who are crazy intelligent. I've been reading about them. I'm like, woo, man, I got to hang out with some different people, I guess, to meet people like that. But basically, they're allocating some of the money to some of the Black businesses here and supporting them, and not doing it in a condescending way. I don't want somebody to tell somebody to come buy what I sell because I'm Black. Just give me a look, and if I win you over, I win you over. And I don't want people feeling sorry for Black folks. I want people to want to do business with them and feel comfortable doing it. And I think this, especially Jeff Bezos doing the $25 million match, classy. I love that. And we raised $45 million already, and money's still coming in. So that makes me proud of my town. Of course, you know what's going to happen. LA will try to top us, and then we'll have to do it again.
Well, it is such a treat to spend some time with you, and thank you for the work that you do and are doing. It's just you're Seattle, man, and we love your work, and keep it up.
Thank you, man. Thanks for calling, and appreciate everybody involved in this thing tonight. Pearl Jam, Macklemore, all you guys. You guys are insane for doing this, and I had a good time. I tore up my studio in here. Sweat flying everywhere because that was 100% live, y'all. No lip syncing. I don't do that. All right.
Take care, man.
All right. Thanks, man.
Okay. See you.